In this video, we'll process amendment funding on an existing award. New year funding for an existing award is processed in two ways. If the F-101 record was staged for multiple years and the proposal in the portal was routed for all years, new year funding is processed as a non-competing continuation in Spectrum. If the F-101 record was staged for only 1 year, the new year funding is processed as an amendment, and you can check this by selecting the award profile for the primary con and viewing the proposal. From the F-101 record, you can see that this particular award was originally staged for 1 budget period, meaning all subsequent funding that we receive under this award will follow the amendment process in Spectrum. Before we review the steps for processing an amendment for additional time and funding in Spectrum, it's important to note that while subawards are issued as amendments, whether they are processed as continuation funding or an amendment for additional time and funding is entirely dependent upon the proposal routing in the portal in the initial award setup in Spectrum. Before I start processing the amendment, I want to verify a few things in the portal. I want to make sure that I have all signatures on my award. I have all of my compliance documents as applicable, IACUC, IRB, biosafety, etc. And I also want to make sure I have a budget that matches the award amount. Once I have that, I verify my primary con. We've just checked the award staging, and now I have my amendment con here that we'll use to create the amendment. So we're going to navigate to Proposals and then Copy Proposal. And I'm going to copy my amendment con from the portal. I can see my start and end date are 7/1/24 to 6/30/25, which matches my award document. And I'm going to change the to version to F-101. Then I'm going to copy. So I'm copying the V-101 version over to the F-101 version. You can see that it's thinking. Now that it's done thinking, we have a copy that we will fix up and process and submit as our amendment. So now we'll navigate back to Maintain Proposal. We're going to clear all of that and re-enter GSUFS and then our amendment con, search. Now you can see we have a V-101 record and an F-101 record. The V-101 record is submitted by the admin team when we finalize the proposal submission and routing in the system. And the F-101 record is what we will use to submit for our amendment. So we open the F-101, and the very first thing we want to do is verify that we have the right award open. We do. We're going to go to the additional information link here. We're going to select the magnifying glass to choose the type Previous Award. Then we select the piece of paper here, and we're going to copy and paste in our primary con. Similar to the continuation funding process, this now links these two awards so that we'll be able to select our amendment con on the award mod. I select OK, return to Maintain Proposal, and select Save. If this was federal flow-through funding, again, we would have added a second line or a second row for our federal flow-through funding. This is not federal flow-through, so I don't need to do that, and I also don't need to add a CFDA number. I do want to make sure that the amount is correct. My amount is off by a few cents, so I'm going to go over to my budget tab, open my budget period here. Okay, so we're good there. It must have rounded it for us. Okay, so we'll save that. And now we're ready to submit. We navigate to submit proposal, change our status to submitted, and we save. What we do not do here is generate a new award. We want to process all of this funding on our existing award. So all we do is change the proposal status to submitted and save, and then we're going to go ahead and navigate back to our award profile and our primary con so we can process this amendment funding under this existing award. This particular award is a fixed price contract with, of course, fixed billing. So we will process our award amendment pieces, then we'll move to the project and process those amendments, then we'll move over to the contract and process those. So the first thing we do is verify we have the correct award up, PI matches, sponsor, title, checking all of that. We now have an end date of 6/30/25, so I'm going to update that date here. On the funding tab, we don't yet have the new year of funding, so I'm going to add a row and enter my budget dates. And save. We do not have any certifications. And now I'm going to come to my GSU Grants Admin tab. One thing I noticed in this award review is that the GSU Grants Admin tab and the award profile or the award modifications tab are off by about 64 cents, which I traced back to the very first year of this award. So we're not going to make any corrections to that at this point. It's 64 cents. I'm not going to worry about it. But I found that in the process of reconciling my direct and indirect and total funding across all of the tabs. So GSU Grants Admin tab, funding, and also the contract. I'm going to update my direct funding. My indirect funding. We now have 346, 286.95. I'm going to save that. Navigate back to the award tab and into the award modifications. We can see when I added a line on the funding tab, this added a line here. It also automatically copied the issue date down, which I don't want. And I'm going to override my award number to note the renewal number. It came in with $0 because we have nothing on the funding tab. So I'm going to open that. I'm going to select additional time and funding. Make sure this issue date is blank. Confirm my beginning and end dates. Again, I'm going to enter my total amount here first before I make any changes on the amount allocation. Then, once I have my total amendment amount, $28,603.57, I can select the amount allocation, enter my direct, my indirect will calculate, select OK. On the proposal ID, I'm going down. I recognize this amendment con. I'm going to select that. We just have our 1SP. Our renewal funding there. Since fixed price awards have automatic carry forward in that we don't return funds to the sponsor, I don't necessarily note anything about auto carry forward or not, just because that's funding that's all going to stay at GSU. Similar to continuation funding, we're always going to want to just double check these boxes are appropriately checked up on the top of the GSU Grants Admin tab as well, but you're never going to have a prior approval requirement for carry forward on a fixed price award. So that's automatically going to keep all the funding here at GSU, even at the end of the project. So now I'm just going to verify my total here, 346, 286.95, 346, 286.95, so those match. Now I'm going to go to the portal. I'm going to copy my SP over to my GSU NOAA tab. When you have a number of budget periods, you have to be careful that you select the right one. Our last one is budget period 12. This is fixed price, additional time and funding, all the same. Review here. No subawards. We're going to attach the final signed MOU and our final budget and save. Now we're going to navigate back to the award and we're going to go visit the project side. We want to make sure we extend our end date on the General Information tab. We're going to open the project activities under Award and Project Activity, extend our date there as well to 6/30/25, return back to our project. We're going to extend our KK date as well to 6/30/25. And again, we want to make sure this reads control and track with budget. We're going to select Update KK and save. It's really important to note that you do have to select the Update KK button. You can't just save it or this panel will not save. We're going to come back to the awards side and post our budget. Do that by navigating to the funding tab, opening our budget here. We have all salary, fringe, and indirect costs for this budget. Add a number of lines. Enter my SP. Because I entered a new budget period on this tab that did not exist when we generated the award, we will have to update our ledger group here. So we're going to always select the Proj GRT and copy, paste. I come back to General. I have some staff. I need to add 1 penny. I'll add that onto the fringe. My total matches my award amount of $28,603.57. I'm ready to finalize this budget. I'll select OK, open a new window, refresh my process monitor. You can see here that's running. I'll refresh. You can see the run status is success, distribution status is posted. Can come back over. I select save, return, and you can see this is posted and distributed. We total 246,286.31. Again, 64 cents less than what's on my award mod and GSU Grants Admin tab, but not something we want to spend a lot of time trying to solve from 10 years ago. Now that our budget is posted, we need to move over to the contract side. So we go back to the award and we select View Contract. If this were a cost reimbursable award amendment, the only steps you would need to take would be to go to the Lines tab here and extend out your end date to 6/30/25. Cost reimbursable amendments, super simple, require very little on the contract side beyond a date extension. Because this is fixed price with fixed billing, or any fixed billing award, actually, even if this was a cost reimbursable contract but had fixed billing, there's an entire amendment process that needs to happen on the contract side to allow us to generate invoices. Since the system is not going to accumulate and generate those expenses on the award and prompt the billing system, we do that by setting up our events. So we have to process an amendment. This particular award, when I reviewed it, had a pending amendment from last summer. So since that's out there and hasn't been processed, we're going to use that. However, had this not been here, we would have selected the amend contract button. I would have selected an amendment type of supplement, a reason of supplement, and we would have gone from there. In this case, we sort of have a blank amendment sitting here that we can use, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to open the detail here. I'm going to select my supplement and supplement types. Normally those would already be here. And my negotiated amount, which is $28,603.57. I'm going to select save. And then before I can have this amendment ready for processing, I need to amend my amount allocation. So here, this is our old amount. I need to add my new total, which is $346,286.31. I'm going to recalculate. Should show an adjustment amount now of just my amendment, and it does. So I'm going to say save. I'm going to return to my amendment details, save again, and then I'm going to select ready and save again. I didn't get any errors, so now I can process my amendment. I'm verifying again. My new value is correct. It is. My net change is the amount of my amendment. Now I'm going to select process. Now you can see my amendment status is complete. I'm going to return to general information. I'm going to return to the Lines tab, then the Detail tab within the contract lines. I'm going to open my billing plan, and now I have a negotiated amount and a billing history that has a difference of my amendment amount. So I need to go to the Events tab and add a new event for this remaining amount. I'm going to add one event. I'm going to set this for a month prior to the end date per the last few that have been set up. I always like to check my previous event notes if there are any. This does not, this is deliverables based, so we would invoice once we know that this has been completed. So I'm going to set this to ready so that this will show up on the post-award officer's billing worksheet next May. Now I'm going to select save. You can see my remaining amount is back down to 0. So my total contract amount has been updated. Return to general information here. Select save. Come back to detail again, and the last step is to update my accounting distribution or to check and make sure my accounting distribution matches. So when I open this, I see my revenue amount does not match my contract amount down here, so I'm going to select correct history. I'm going to change this to the total. Select save. Return to general information, save again, and that is the amendment process for a grants fixed award.